Welcome to Shelf Help, a channel dedicated to talking into the void about whatever book I happen to be reading. I am your host, the reader. The following review will contain spoilers. As a rule, I don't metagame an author. I want to see where the story leads. That said, if you read enough of a certain genre, you pick up on trends. So it's nice when I can't put my finger on the bad guy in the first couple chapters. In fact, it took me about a third of the way through the book to figure out what was going on. And it was delightful. Penelope, known as Poppy to her friends, is the maiden, chosen by the gods since birth to bring forth a new era of prosperity and peace for the kingdom of Solace. Her only goal is to remain pure of mind, body, and heart until she reaches the age of ascension. It all sounds very lofty and important. In reality, she doesn't have much of a life. She's under constant guard. Her one friend is assigned to her and also serves as her maid. She must veil her face when she leaves her room and is not allowed to speak to anyone outside of a few approved individuals. Even her own guards and maid are technically not supposed to be friends and should only be spoken to as needed. There are few books she's allowed to read, and even fewer places she is allowed to go. However, the largest restriction is on the use of her powers. The sign she has a gift from the gods, she can sense and relieve the pain of others, and it is absolutely forbidden for her to use it. Ever. So, naturally, she spends most of her life rebelling in small ways, and sometimes big ways. But of course, any disobedience, real, perceived, or made up whole cloth, is severely punished. Like, trigger warning, severely punished. The kingdom of Solace is under siege, not from an army, but from the Craven. Over the last 2 centuries, the citizens have slowly been forced into walled cities and towns. Craven were human, once, who were bitten by another Craven and escaped. They are mindless, seeking only the blood and flesh of the living, human or animal. According to the historical accounts, the Craven were created and are controlled by the Atlanteans, specifically their prince Castile, to terrorize the good people of Solace. Only the blessing of the gods, given to their chosen ascended, can keep the people safe. The kingdom's hopes rest on Poppy's shoulder, as her ascension will usher in a new era. No pressure. As the time of her ascension draws near, so does the enemy. A lady in wait is found drained of blood, and then one of Poppy's guards is killed in a kidnapping attempt. Enter Hawke. Young, hot, impressively skilled for his age, he swears his life and sword to make sure Poppy reaches her ascension. Which leaves us with the mystery of who's the vampire. First and obvious option is Prince Castile. All her life, Poppy has been taught about the war against the Atlanteans, and how their habit of feeding on the blood of the innocent caused the gods to abandon them and bless the ascended. Castile is the one who created the Craven, sending them to terrorize the poor mortals of Solace. He is so evil, it is considered treason even to speak his name. He is known only as the Dark One, or the enemy. His followers are called the Descended, and actively fight the authority of the blessed Ascended. Honestly, this all smacks of propaganda. One man, so powerful that he can terrorize a kingdom all on his own, but not overthrow it. Then dehumanizing him by forbidding his name and giving him an ominous moniker. All meant to incite feelings of mindless evil. That said, the best propaganda is just cherry-picked truth. Which leads me to the Ascended themselves. They honor the gods, who only move at night, by being up only at night themselves. Though an exception can be made for rooms without windows, because as we all know, gods can't see through walls. The Ascended also have all black eyes, and Poppy's gift can read nothing from them. The Ascended are the closest to the gods, so close in fact, they can petition them if they feel the cause is worthy. For example, the Queen petitioned the gods to allow Poppy's brother to ascend, even though he should not have been eligible. According to the laws laid down by the gods, the firstborn sons and daughters are to stay with their parents. Secondborn are given to the Ascended to become ascended themselves, should the gods find them worthy. All subsequent children must be surrendered to the temple, where they will serve the gods in seclusion and are never again seen by society. And that in no way is suspicious or sounds like a blood farm. The last suspect is, of course, Hawke. Remarkably young for his level of skill, he is the youngest person ever to reach the position of royal guard. He is very attractive, with many ladies in wait and the maiden herself finding every excuse to watch him on the training grounds. And his first assignment? Guard the maiden. After she has lost a second guard in a year, the first to a mysterious heart condition that took him in his sleep, and the second to a kidnapping attempt. It's all very convenient. To quote the Duchess, "Truths do not always set one free. Only a fool who has spent their entire life being fed lies believes that." As a character, I like Poppy. She's questioning her world. She realizes that something is off even if she can't think outside her upbringing enough to put her finger on it. She is lonely and bored and scared of the future. No one will tell her what her very special ascension will entail, and not in the "we really don't know" sort of way, but in the "how dare you question" sort of way. It's normal to be scared of such mysterious rites. And with fear comes curiosity. She doesn't know what will happen on her birthday, if she will come back and ascended, or if she will simply be dead. She wants to experience life, and all that is forbidden to her. And good Lord, there is a lot that is forbidden to her, even if it gets her in trouble. She also recognizes that, like it or not, she is the maiden, a symbol and a target. Even though it is forbidden, she convinces her guard Victor to train her. Thanks to him, she can use a dagger, a sword, and a bow. Victor, despite being a true believer in Poppy's divinity, reluctantly conspires to let her use her powers to help people. When people are bitten by Craven, they become cursed and will slowly turn into Craven themselves. Which is remarkably bad inside a walled city. By law, they're supposed to be dragged out into the public square and burned alive. Which is especially cruel since those most likely to become cursed are those who protect the citizens, like the guards. So Victor, and when he lets her, Poppy, go out and do for the people what the curse won't let them do for themselves. Death with dignity instead of public humiliation. And while not actively helping her on all of her adventures, he does his best to keep her out of trouble. He's like a surrogate father to her in many ways. Which means he's suspicious of Hawke, as he should be. I like Hawke. He's kind, understanding, protective. Too good to be true in so many ways. He is just as defiant of authority as Poppy is, and seems to have a good grasp on how uncomfortable her gilded cage is, even more so than Victor. Like Poppy, he also questions the claims of the Ascended, pointing out where things seem logically shaky and even a bit odd. He also admits to helping the cursed die with dignity just like Poppy and Victor do. Prince Castile, on the other hand, is a hypocrite and a jackass. Don't get me wrong, I get where he's coming from. And he's probably the first person to tell Poppy the truth in this whole mess. But for all his talk about the cruelty and horrors of the Ascended, he also crucifies his own people and leaves them as wall decorations. Did they disobey a direct order? Yes. Did they nearly upend years of work for a moment of petty spite? Yes. Is crucifying them and forcing Poppy to view them over dinner she didn't want to attend just to make an obtuse point icky and cruel on several levels? Absolutely. Also, that plan he suggested over dinner? I hope Poppy stabs him. Again. Maybe a couple times for good measure. Because Jesus Christ, dude! And for all his yammering about understanding her life in a cage, being surrounded by guards and not allowed to do as she pleases in the name of personal safety, he plans to drag her off to Atlanta, where she will have to be surrounded by guards and have her freedom restricted because a fair portion of the population will want to kill her. A distinction without a difference he doesn't seem to make. Or at least acknowledge. Just as an FYI, because I know some people have feelings about sex in books not marketed specifically as romances, this book does contain several sex scenes. It's vampires. I mean, two people meet in the dark, body parts extend, there's penetration, fluids are exchanged. They were always a cautionary tale for sex. For me, as long as it's well written and serves the plot, it's fine. And it is well written. I do question if some of these serve the plot, especially towards the end, but overall, they don't distract from the story either. I'm going to put this on my second shelf. It's pretty good, and I plan to get the rest of the trilogy. However, it does drag a bit in the middle, and Poppy can get a bit repetitive with her thoughts. I do like that the bad guy isn't immediately obvious, simply because everyone is equally suspicious. I also like that there really isn't a good guy either, outside of Poppy. There are certainly some who are worse than others, but no one goes through a war without getting their hands dirty. The sex, while good, does get a bit gratuitous, but not excessively so, at least in my book. I look forward to the rest of the series. Thank you for your time. I know everyone's mileage will vary, so feel free to leave your thoughts.